This morning, Governor Gavin Newsom of California threw transgender people under the bus hard. He sat down with far-right hate influencer Charlie Kirk as his first guest on his new podcast, the same person who calls trans people a throbbing middle finger to God. In it, Newsom seems to agree with Charlie Kirk on transgender sports, stating that he thinks participation in sports, which ranges from disc golf to dancing and even chess, by transgender people is completely unfair. Listen here.
But, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness.
So
it's deeply unfair.
would you speak out?
He then also says that he is completely aligned with Charlie Kirk on transgender sports issues. See here.
It turns out in 2014, years before I was governor, there was a law established the legal principles that allow trans athletes in women's sports. But the issue of fairness is completely legit. So I completely align with you, and we've got to own that. We've got to acknowledge it.
But that's not all. He threw incarcerated trans adults under the bus in his speech. And at the very end, he agreed with youth gender-affirming caravans, offering no pushback. Listen here.
I encourage you, Governor, to learn about some of the butchery under the guise of healthcare that is happening under chemical castration in this state and in other states. We don't spend a lot of time on that, but the American people are overwhelmingly against it. Yeah. They're overwhelmingly against it.
No, I think we have to be more sensitized to that.
Youth should be off limits. I think that's the political direction things are going. Yeah. You might be right on deportations. I know I'm right on this. I know that this issue is picking up steam. There is no good counter to it. The CAST report, the United Kingdom CAST report, the NHS came out and said there's no good reason to ever operate surgically on a young person. Puberty's not the problem. Puberty's the solution. I think I encourage.
I'm not an expert in this, but I appreciate your broader.
But I'm saying politically.
This is despicable. To invite as the first guest to your podcast Charlie Kirk, who has implied that men should take care of transgender women like they did in the 50s and 60s, it's not right. When Newsom platforms somebody like Charlie Kirk, he isn't fostering a discussion on trans people in sports. He's handing a known hate monger a microphone to denigrate an already vulnerable community. That's the real objective. Newsom isn't engaging in open dialogue or debate. He's recalibrating his political stance to make targeting trans people seem palatable, selling that as a shift to his base as strategically necessary. And he's doing it by giving one of the most notorious anti-LGBTQ extremists a seat at the table. It's shameful.